Hi, I'm Cyrus Mansouri, and I'm doing a quick update on the Acknowledgement of Service Form. Unfortunately, since the last one that we did, there's been a change in the way that the courts process these applications, so I thought we'll just do a really quick one to bring you up to speed. What's happened is that the system's pretty much completely gone online now, and the old paper-based divorce petition system is pretty much gone out the window, although it is available for certain people, and I'll tell you about that at the end of this recording. But what happens now is, if you're on the receiving end of a divorce, you're going to receive a letter from the court telling you that a petition's been filed, and it's going to have some code numbers on it. Now what you need to do is you need to log on to the website. There'll be a link on the letter which tells you where to go. You log on to the website, and the first thing that you're going to have to do is create your own user profile, which will obviously be your email address and a password. It's going to ask you to put the password in twice, just like they all do on these sites. And if you do ever lose or forget your password, you can recover it as long as you've got access to your emails. So you'll do that, and it will probably ask you for a contact phone number, a mobile number. That, if you have one and you enter the number, will be used in future to send code numbers to you when you try to log in again after a period of time, because they need to reactivate the account. So if you do have a mobile number, put that into. At this stage, you'll have just created your profile, so you're not actually logged into your own divorce yet. What then happens is the system will log you completely out, and you have to log straight, back in again using the information that you've just created, your password, your email. And at this point, you will be asked to enter two different numbers that are very specific just to your own divorce, and they will be on that letter that you received from the court. They're basically passwords. One of the numbers is a reference number which relates to your divorce petition, and it's unique to yourself, and below it will be a passworded number which is, I think, around about 10 digits long. Only you have that, and that's what makes it secure, so other people will not be able to cheat and log in and pretend to be you, unless of course they get hold of your letter, but that's a completely different scenario altogether. So you're going to put in your two those two numbers that they ask for. You will then arrive at a screen which is going to have four as it were tabs on it. Four windows. I shouldn't call them windows, they're tabs. And you will be at the stage 1 tab, which is divorce petition has been filed, and you are now logged in as the respondent to respond to that petition. And you're going to be presented with three questions. It's one question, but three answers. The question is, do you agree to this divorce proceeding? And then you have three answers that you choose one of. Answer number 1 is yes, I agree. Answer number 2 is yes, I agree, but I deny everything that's been said about me by my husband/wife. And option number 3 is no, I do not agree. Now, option 1 doesn't have much to say about it. You've agreed, that's it, you tick it, and you'll move on to the next page. Option 2, which is the one that we very often will advise you to choose, is the one where you say, well, I agree that my marriage has broken down irretrievably, but I don't agree with what's been said about me. So that, in a sense, is a way of having the divorce, having your cake and eating it, for want of a better way of putting it, because you get your divorce, but you haven't admitted to any of the allegations that have been made against you in the petition. So option 2 is the one I would normally advise most of my clients to go for. Option 3, no, I do not agree to a divorce and I wish to defend it. Well, that's a complicated one, and that really is going to call for a complete recording just on its own, because there's a lot to say about it. But what I will say here is that 99.9% of people are not going to choose that, and the main reason, there's two reasons for it. The main reason for it is it's just going to cost them a lot. to fight a divorce petition. It's going to involve a lot of money. But the other reason is that the chances of success are generally quite slim, because what are you doing? You're denying that the marriage is irretrievably broken down. You're going to court and you've got a wife or a husband standing on the other side who's yelling at you and telling the judge that it's completely broken down and they don't want to be with you. So, realistically, what are your prospects of convincing a judge that it hasn't broken down? Well, you've only got one prospect, and that is to prove to the judge that you've been cohabiting for a continuous period of 6 months or longer. That's 6 continuous months. Now, you don't need me to tell you that proving that is going to be quite a challenge. Even more so if you're not cohabiting. So, as I said, option 3 is going to be a real rare one. And if you are going to be going for I'm defending the divorce option, you do need to be talking to a lawyer. Quite frankly, videos like this are not going to help you. This is more for the standard type of run-of-the-mill types of divorces where people are reasonably straightforward and they're just looking to resolve their separation and get on with life. So I've really said all there is to say about that. So once you've clicked one of your options, if it's number 1 and number 2, you'll go to the next screen, which is then going to ask you, do you accept that the jurisdiction of England and Wales is correct for this divorce? Now, again, in 99% of cases, the answer to that question is going to be yes too, because there are many different sequences that would qualify. So you don't both have to be habitually resident in England for you to qualify for a divorce under the English law. It's sufficient, generally speaking, if one of you is habitually resident here. So for the huge majority of cases, the answer there is yes. If you really think that there are jurisdictional issues that mean that you're not habitually resident, or that your partner isn't, or both of you, or whatever, or there's some complicating factor, again, that's something you should think about taking proper legal advice on, because again, videos like this are not really going to answer your question, and if I tried to, I'd be talking for far too long. So the answer there is invariably going to be a yes. And that then takes you to the next screen, and this is the one that really gets everyone. Do you agree to pay the costs of this divorce? Now, it's a given fact that the petitioner will usually get an order for costs in their favour against you, the respondent. And this is the one thing I can say that I get the most number of phone calls about. Why do I have to pay, or how can I defend not paying the costs? And I'll do one recording specifically on that, because it is quite a big area. But generally speaking, the petitioner is going to get an order that you pay their costs most of the time. Okay, so you need to bear that in mind. And then once you've agreed to that point and ticked whichever one of the 2 boxes it is, there's a little box there where you can put in your own comments, and you can say why it is that you do or do not agree to pay the costs. You can put in whatever you want there. I'll cover that in another recording. Takes you to the next page, which allows you to check your answers and amend anything that you want to change, and click submit. Once you've submitted, you can't change anything, but up until that point, you can amend anything you want. So make sure you go over everything when you get to that last page. Make sure you're happy with it. Once you click the submit, the whole system, it goes through the computer system, goes through, the whole system's been really, it's been computerized. The human aspect of it has been removed to a large extent, which is good, really, because it moves it along much faster. I mean, under the old system, you could wait forever to get an answer on these, but now it moves very quickly. So that really is the way forward. I hope this has been helpful. I'm going to do a couple more short videos on the subject of divorce, and we really need to move on to dealing with the financial aspects and children, which is a matter that I get a lot of questions about. Thank you.